Well, welcome everybody to the July W7PRA Peak Radio Association meeting. I'm Paul Enzero VLR, chair of the board, and let's do some introductions. And let's start with Olin.
This is Olin, WA7YXY in Corvallis. And thanks to Mike and Paul for putting on field day and all the people that attended.
Thank you. You're welcome. Annalise.
I'm Annalise, NH6Z, and I'm in metropolitan Lebanon, Oregon, and I am one of the at-large members of the board.
Thank you, Anna. Stephen. You're on mute, Steve.
I'm Steve, KW7F, and I live in Northwest Corvallis.
Right on. Ron, you're up next from the 7QP Lodge.
Yeah, Ron Post, AE4JL, and beautiful Millersburg.
All right, thank you, Ron. And Sharp and Snappy Dresser.
I'm assuming that's me. I'm Ted, W7RTM, in the suburbs of Philomath, in front of the Christmas tree.
Right on. Okay, Mr. Phil, haven't seen you since CPAC.
Yeah, well, I made it tonight. This is Phil, KL7JJE, and hope to keep making these if I can keep my brain turned on and remember.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Phil. And I'll talk a little bit about the reminders later on this evening about some administration stuff. So thank you for the reminder. All right, Mr. Ty.
Ty Parsons, WP7DD in Southeast Corvallis.
Thank you, Ty. Mr. Paul from Roseburg.
Paul, W7PEB, and without my tongs, somewhere between
one of these days.
Pittsburgh and Winston.
One of these days. In fact, I'm actually going to be going down to Klamath Falls in August sometime. Maybe we'll find a way to connect up. Mr. Andy, AA7AV.
Yeah, Andy, I'm here in southwest of Philomath in Benton County.
Right on, Andy. Mr. Mike.
Mike, W7RIS, about 10 miles north of Corvallis in the Soap Creek Valley.
Good to have you, Mike. And Anthony, you're last on the list here so far. Nothing yet.
Let's try this. Anthony.
There we go.
7 OSN in the state and city limits proper now.
Wow, congratulations. For those who don't know, Anthony it became a new homeowner. So I'm glad to at least find some bandwidth for this meeting tonight. Thank you.
And the computer I'm on right now moved over about 20 minutes ago. So
okay. All right. As I told everybody except Anthony, we may have a drop in from our Oregon section manager. Although at this point, I don't know if he'll actually attend, but I told him he can come to any of the meetings. Just drop me a line and we'll put them on the agenda. So I met him. His name is John. He recently took over, and I had a good chat with him one night, and I invited him to the meeting. So if he drops in, don't be surprised. Okay. Mike, we have the opportunity to do an educational minute here if we would like to do that first, or if you're not able to or need a few more minutes, we can go right on through the business meeting. How would you like to proceed? Oh, I think you're on mute, Mike.
Try this again. You know, I always have something to talk about, so I'm good. If we want to, we can talk about it anytime.
Yep. Why don't we do that first? We, last time I think we did business first and then we had a lot to talk about with, other things. So let's mix it up.
Okay, we're going to talk about ethics.
Let's go ahead and start with the, our secretary's report. If we, and if we can keep on, talking about any other topics at the end of the meeting here.
So I sent the minutes from June out Sunday, I believe. And everybody had the opportunity to read them. If not, do so. And if there's any additions, deletions, corrections, and Paul hasn't notified me whether they're of my spelling errors. So I'm assuming so far everything is good. But let me know.
Actually, I actually did notify you that everything looked great, Ted. But maybe it didn't get to you right away.
So that's my report.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for your service for doing all of these meeting minutes, Ted. And we will move on to the treasurer's report, which I will share a screen because Andy is not, our treasurer is not here with us tonight. And let's see, share, which one do I want to share? I think I'm going to share screen 3. How do I do that? Screen 3. All right. So screen 3, here we go. So the treasurer's report is right here, is received by Andy earlier 2 days ago. The treasurer's report as of the 15th of July. And I asked him specifically if there was anything that was still outstanding for field day or any other expenses, and he said no, not to his knowledge. So this is as it is even as of today. So OSU checking 1607.27. We have savings of 2479 and change. The total at Oregon State Credit Union is a little over $4,086. And I see that we're removing, I'm sorry, we're transferring some of our smaller cash units into the checking and savings, so that's good. And with a total of $4,086.47. And I know, Ted, you've got an email as here. You received this as well, so you can just take this and put it into the meeting minutes. So so thank you there.
Hey, Paul?
Any questions or any concerns with the treasurer's report?
Yeah, can you put that slide back up?
Yep. Sure thing. And now you're asking me to share the screen again twice. All right, hang on. There it
I'm
is.
just curious why the total at the bottom is less than the total for OSCU total.
That's a good question.
I am in QA. Oh.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Ron's in quality assurance at a company that in such that we both bump into each other frequently. I wonder if it's one of these. Does that make any sense? Literally? Okay, we will. I will check with Andy and get a corrected version of either this or this, just to be sure. And I will email him right after this meeting. Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
For doing your job even after 5 o'clock. All right, thanks for keeping me honest. Okay, so
for the record, I don't put the subtotal in the minutes, only the total. So I didn't catch it.
Right on. And none of us did. That's why Ron's in QA and we're not. All right, so next up, I'll throw it back to Ron. If you'd like to update us on anything with the website. I know you and Anna talked a little bit before the meeting, so maybe you could update everybody who wasn't here.
Yeah, the big thing is Anna and I just need to get together so we can get the URL straight. It actually is out on the web. You know, it is live, but it's just a little tricky to find it. And Paul and I will get together and kind of give it one last scrub through. I do try to go out to it each month and attach the previous month's video in there, the link, to make them easy to find. So it'll be very minimal maintenance to keep this site up and running.
And I do appreciate that, Ron, and I know we all do. It's been a long time since we've had our web presence. Maybe if you could, for the group, especially the ones that are here who are dedicated members, if you could just put it in the chat window as to how to get to it so that we can take a look at it. And would you accept any criticism and comments?
Oh, yeah. It's for all of us to make it better. So if you see something, I make mistakes. I'm human.
Yep, we all are. Okay, thank you, Ron. And I know Anna's not here, but I know you're gonna find a spot on your calendars to get together, and that's good enough. Okay, I do want to give recognition to the repeater. Hang on a second. Let me get back to sharing again. For those of you, I won't do this every month, but I will mention that there is a Facebook page for the PRA Repeater Info Center. And, you know, all you have to do is it's a private group. You just have to say, I would like to become a member. And then there's a moderator who will answer you. I think they just want to know your call sign and why you're interested. So you get updates. And so like this one right here was just yesterday at like a little afternoon, Klein Butte. Well, a weak signal issue was repaired. So these kinds of things are very interesting for us to see, because we're trying to, you know, key up the repeater. We're trying to see, you know, what's going on, and you can see that some of these things are being handled. Okay, and this is exactly where Chris will post any and all updates regarding the repeater system that we share the name with. Okay. Lost my agenda. Hang on a second. Okay. Upcoming events, contests, and hamfests. I'm going to go to Mr. Scott, KF7GGN. Even if it's minimal, Scott, could you give us an update? I know you had said that you could work with Ron, and maybe you guys could come up with some ideas for the next face-to-face gathering.
Well, hi, Paul and everyone. Ron and I need to get together. That's really my fault. I've been so busy. What we'll do is Ron and I will try to schedule a contact. We'll discuss this and we'll send out general emails and try to keep people updated. I think the idea is we want to set something for, what do we say, Paul, late August or early September? And we would pick some sort of a park as we did last year, and try to do a POTA and the barbecue and so forth. So that's the general idea. I think, I don't know if everybody that's at the meeting right now had attended last year's get together, but if you didn't, it'll be something on that order. So we would try to, definitely let everybody know, find a place that's not too far away from town. And because last year we did Sarah Helmick Park, which was very nice. And we'll discuss whether that might be an option for this year as well. But we'll just go ahead and try to set up something according to what we did last year. So it will be, a very informal afternoon event on a Saturday or Sunday. And we'll, just try to make it as fun as possible. We'll set up at least one station, maybe a couple. And we can do at least one POTA event or activate the park for that reason. And try to make it as fun as possible. And the general idea is just for everyone to kind of be in the same place at the same time where it's safe and fun. And hopefully the weather will cooperate with us as well. So that's where we're at. So I'm sorry we don't have anything more concrete, But that's what we've got so far. And like I said, I'll get in touch with Ron and get things moving in that direction. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
You're on mute, Paul.
Sorry, I just did what I've told others they do, and that's mute themselves. Is there anything you want to add to what Scott said? Because then after that, I'd like to put it up for a vote to see how many interested parties there would be, barring the date and the location being set yet.
The only thing I'll say is you're not the only one that's been busy, Scott, so but yeah, I definitely will help.
So kind of a show of hands. I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves. Don't, I mean, if you think that you can make it in the what I call the August, early September timeframe, somewhere in the end of August and early September. I was kind of thinking, does anybody have any major Labor Day plans? I know I stay away from Labor Day camping because of everybody else doing the same thing. So, but is Labor Day, weekend, like that Sunday, is that a good time for everybody? I'm just going to throw it out there as a proposal.
A lot of traffic that weekend.
And parks will be very busy too.
And that might be very true, Mike and Olin. And so all we can do is try. And busy sometimes is good if you want to show what we're doing to others, right? So. Well, I'll leave it to Mike and Scott to, I'm sorry, to, Scott and Ron, my bad. I'm looking at two different pictures here. To come up with a proposal, and maybe you can send it out to the Reflector email and see if that works.
All right, we'll do that. The main thing is, we'll probably have at least one, maybe two, one main date or weekend, and maybe have an alternate to see where everybody wants. Yeah, sure. I know you were thinking maybe even if it is kind of a busy time and people would be at a park, that might be nice because then, part of our interaction would be with the general public, similar to a field day concept. So, yeah, we'll talk about that and see what everybody would like.
Yeah, I don't want to overkill it. I want us to enjoy. But at the same time, if we have some opportunities, then that's great. Have people drop in. So I think we should probably, does anybody want to make a motion to maybe sponsor some funding towards, this event? I know we did it last year. I don't have a number in mind, but as far as sponsoring this event and as far as club funds go, we could, earmark a number and then we could increase it if we needed to. But because we have some time, we have another meeting before then, so it's not impossible.
So how much, ballpark figure does it take? It's not a field day, so it's just a one lunch so I have no idea what that would be.
I would say if we were to earmark about $125, that would cover it plenty. And then we would want a kind of a good, if we get some good RSVPs, Ted, that will help us cut down on costs.
Okay, I'll move to we earmark $120, not to exceed $120.
Second.
All right. So I heard Ted make a motion and Anthony seconded. All in favor?
Yeah, aye.
Any opposed? Where's Jim when you need him? Okay. All right. Very good. I think motion is carried that we should try to do something. And I would like to add a little potluck add to this too, to to kind of, just if anybody wants to bring something special, that they would like to contribute. I think that's a great way to really, kind of come to the event and do something. So we'll Scott and Ron, and if you need any ideas, or if you have anything you want to run by, feel free to reach out, email or whatever. Excellent. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Okay, one last thing. Also, if that wasn't enough, just as a reminder, and Anthony, I'm going to kind of put you on the stand here. Bonnie reached out. Bonnie Altus reached out to you a while ago, saying that we have been an ARL affiliated club, not a club as in the whole time, but certainly for 10 years. So this is our 10-year anniversary of being ARL affiliated. Do you have any more information on that, except it's going to coincide with our picnic and poto?
Yeah, not in particular. So for those that aren't aware, Bonnie is I believe the Polk County EC for Polk County Aries, and additional hats that she wears includes she does like clubs and I believe like education outreach for ARL in Oregon. And so yeah, part of her responsibility is keeping track of how long organizations have been affiliated with ARL, and our name came up for the 10-year list in August. So and I believe that probably wasn't too far after the club itself formed. So this should be about the 10th year anniversary for the club itself.
Thank you, Anthony. So another reason to celebrate. Maybe someone can volunteer to make a cake, but we'll get to that later. All right. So I don't know, does anybody have any other upcoming events or any Hamfests that, we shouldn't try to miss because they're just epic and you've been there before, and or anything like that?
So there's one, I sent an email out through the Google groups, and that is Benton County Aries is hosting another tech class and license VE session. And the class will be the 25th, 26th of August. So that's a Friday and Saturday. Review session in the morning of the 27th, and then a VE session in the early afternoon of the 27th. And part of that is we had been a VE team under ARL, and we recently just got the group signed up to VE under Laurel. And for those that aren't aware, the major difference between Laurel VEC and ARL is the exam fees to sit the exam. And so ARL, when to sit in and to take the test, it costs you $15. And so if you pass or fail, you still are out $15. And then you have to go pay the FCC the $35. Laurel is entirely all volunteer driven. And the Laurel VEC as well as the VE teams themselves take on a lot more of the bureaucratic paperwork stuff than what ARL does. Through their ARL has a couple of like paid employees that do it. So the exam fee to sit for an AR or a Laurel VE exam is $0. So the nice thing there is if you have somebody who is like trying to get that upgrade or trying to get that license, and if they're really close, the VE team can make the call to let them take the test again if time permits and everything, and at that point they're not paying out of pocket, and technically with the way the FCC is set up now, they don't pay any money until they pass an exam. So that way, if anybody's interested and is kind of hesitant on taking the test, this kind of lowers that bar a little bit further and makes that easier. And we've been last session, Scott and Andy and Declan and Spike were running with exam tools. which is a software base. So if those are familiar with hamstudy.org, it's the same organization, does a web-based exam system. And the nice thing with that is because all the paperwork is processed electronically, you can actually see the VEs can see in real time how their students progressing through the test, and if they're passing or failing. And also that once that all that stuff's put together, that is an electronic file that gets submitted to the VEC that then gets kicked up to the FCC, and processing time on that is typically about 1 business day. So if somebody comes in to take an upgrade or to take their first test on a Sunday, they will usually get the notification from the FCC that that they need to pay their $35 processing fee, usually Monday or Tuesday, and they'll be legal basically within a couple of hours after after paying their fee. So the last exam session was on a Sunday, and by Wednesday morning, all of the applicants were legal in the FCC database, and most of them had actually processed Monday night. So
Andy, I have a question for you, or Anthony.
yeah, go ahead.
What was the alternate group to ARRL? Because when I did my amateur extra class over in Albany back in 2015, after I passed it there, they immediately came up to me and asked me if I'd like to be a VE examiner. So now I have this nice little thing, but it says the Greater Los Angeles Amateur Radio Group. Is that the same thing you were talking about?
Not quite. So there are a number of, so there's a group of volunteer examiner coordinators. And I can't remember the exact number. It's somewhere in like the 10-ish, like 8 to 12, somewhere in their range. Organizations that are signed up with the FCC to organize volunteer examiners. So GLARG is one of those, ARL is one of those, the Anchorage Amateur Radio Club is one of them. There's like the San Jose or San Diego Radio Club. So each of these organizations is part of the committee that actually, so every time the exam pool gets updated, each of these VECs are the ones that are forming the committees that are reviewing and updating the exam pools. But there are a number of different ones, and they, in practice, pretty much everybody has gone to using exam tools as their software platform. Laurel hasn't quite gone there. However, exam tools does export everything. So it's from the Laurel standpoint, I would go in and click export out of exam tools and then click import into the Laurel software, and then go from there. But they are different organizations, and they do have different criteria for becoming an accredited VE with them. So ARL, there's like a little open book test you have to fill out and send in, and I actually found that to be rather, the wording on stuff was not fun. But then GLARG basically said that if you have an ARL accreditation, we'll just give you a GLARG one because you're accredited with ARL. The Laurel criteria for being a VE with Laurel is basically you have to tell a team leader who's signed up as a team leader through Laurel that, yes, I am a licensed ham, and I have not had my license suspended or revoked, nor have I had my VE credentials suspended or revoked by another VEC. And if you say both of those, then the team leader can basically plug you in for review into the Laurel VEC program. And then usually within about 1 or 2 business days, the team leader gets a certificate back from Laurel that we can then send to you. And so if you're interested in becoming a VE with Laurel, I can plug your call sign in, and probably by tomorrow morning you would have a certificate in your email for that. but yeah, so if anybody has any questions about anybody's interested in upgrading, I did put out a link in the email that I sent out for a sign up for that. There haven't been any signups so far, so if anybody is interested, at some point we'll have to make that call of whether or not we actually have the exam session. And if nobody signs up, then we probably will have people find other things to do on a August weekend. But if anybody you know is interested in getting their tech license and would like some classroom time, Scott Gilbert's going to be instructing that. And the last test, I believe it was, there were 6 students who sat through the lecture. 5 of those walked out as techs, and the other one walked out a general. So pretty good success rate there. And even there's one other applicant that walked in to the exam session to upgrade, and they got their upgrade. So if anybody's interested, or you know anybody that would be interested in taking the test in the Corvallis area, especially with the added bonus of it doesn't cost you any money to take the test, then feel free to pass along that email I sent out. And if you didn't get the email from me, let me know and I will send that another way.
One quick question, Anthony, just, and I think this will benefit everybody. All tests must be in person, true or false?
For Laurel VEC, yes, you do have to sit in person for the test. Laurel is not currently set up to do remote testing. ARRL is, and I know Declan and the Lynn County areas have been conducting remote tests. So if somebody's looking to take a remote test, I would say go talk to Declan and the Lynn County group over there and do that. But if you're in the Corvallis area or if that's not out of the way, the big difference here again is that to sit for the ARRL, you have to pay your $15 up front. So a little bit cheaper there, but you do have to show up.
Thank you. That's a great message and a good reminder for us to be VECs when the time comes. And Steve, I hope you can help out in some way, and I hope we can all do that sometime because it's a great service. Thank you, Anthony.
Yep.
Anybody else have any other upcoming events or Hamfests or any other newsworthy items or any? And I'll kind of cluster it together. Any new business, because they're kind of like upcoming events and new events. They're kind of like, what's the difference? I don't know. I should change my agenda.
Well, Route 66 is coming up in September. We'll go.
Is that Route 66?
Yeah, it's Route 66 on the air. It'll be
That's a fun one.
9th through the 17th. And there'll be 23 or 26 stations to get a clean sweep, and they're located all along old Route 66 in various towns. It's kind of fun. I've never got a clean sweep. I've come close last year, but maybe this year. That's and then the contest season will be starting again, kind of kicked off by the California QSO party the first weekend in October.
Yep, that's a little ways out, but good reminder, Olin, to tune up your antennas and listen on pretty much all the bands for California. So, all right, anything else before we go ahead and close the meeting? Anything good of the order? Anything news and exciting? We're all going to go over to Anthony's house and erect a 70-foot tower.
I mean, you won't hear me complaining. I don't have anything to hang antennas off of at the moment.
That's why I said it. Hey, congratulations.
Thanks again.
All right, hearing nothing, I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting. I want to thank everybody for attending and thank especially Mike for another fine educational segment and everybody else that's contributing to this. this club, and looking forward to our next event, which will likely be a picnic in POTA. And so if there's anything that you, Scott and Ron, need from me or the club, please put it out on an email and then we can discuss it.